Alright, hey guys, another discussion thread coming right at you, and the title of this one is Loot from Battles Needs Some Kind of Rework. We have a couple of dev replies on a couple of different pages, and we've had a lot of topics like this recently. We just went over one, and I'm probably going to upload these like once a day, so probably the video that I uploaded yesterday is going to be talking about it. But this one is a little bit different. We got a lot more dev replies, and we're going to see exactly what he's talking about. Because the other one was talking about how we need to lower how much specific loot costs. Like lower tier loot should not cost, like for example, a looter's torn, like let's say his torn, what would you call it? Torso armor, not torso armor, like his rags pretty much that he wears, they shouldn't be worth like 67 to 100 dinars. It makes no sense. They should be worth like 6 dinars, you know what I mean? 4 dinars, something super cheap. And then he also stated that, the top tier items, like let's say that like one of the Emperor's like top helmets, those should obviously stay the same cost, and it should be kind of like, that dramatic increase when you get to the top of the top, and kind of, the tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 should have a significant decrease in value, and I do kind of agree with it. But all right, let's see what this guy has to say, and then see what the devs have to say. Alrighty, so the main poster. The loot that we get from battles is terrible and very frustrating. It doesn't seem to matter how high the enemy troop level is or how many of them there are. The stuff we were getting after is totally C-word. I can't even say it, sorry. YouTube. If there is any higher tier equipment in there, it's broken in some way, making it useless. I know this isn't a looter RPG like Diablo, but I can get the same feeling here as many other RPGs that have loot where you keep farming and you never get anything good. If the level of the rewards is going to be this low going forward, might as well just get rid of the loot completely and just give resources or money like other threads have said. Alrighty, so here are some tough stuff to I forgot like the I've been trying to put what do you call it? It's like what do you call those things? It's like one of those like one-liners, you know what I mean? It's a tough pill to swallow. There it is. All right, I got it. It was on my head, but it wasn't really there, but there it is. It's a tough pill to swallow, but here it is. The most gold you can get from an encounter or from a battle, regardless if it's 10 versus 10 or if it's 10,000 versus 10,000, the most gold you can get is 10,000. It is capped at 10,000. It used to not be capped, and I used to when the game was first released for the first couple patches, if you fought a battle with a couple thousand versus a couple thousand, you can come out with a good 200k gold when that battle's over, which made sense, and it drastically just like, changed how money was spent and how money was traded. It was cool, but it was chaotic. So the devs decided to hard cap it at 10,000 per battle or per siege. With that being said, the loot is the same way. The loot, its value is hard capped at 10,000 as well. Therefore, if you fight again a 10 versus 10 or a 10,000 versus 10,000, you're only going to get 10,000 dinars worth of loot, which sucks. Now that I said this, I think both of those systems suck. I think they should low-key, I think they're temporary systems. Don't get me wrong. I think they're temporary. I'm not completely sure. The devs have talked about it in the past, and they have talked about actually improving how the gear works, how the pricing works, and all of that. They have talked about this. But these hard caps need to be changed. I think they need to somehow, work. I don't know if it should be based off clan tier. If obviously your roguery bonus gives you a bigger percentage of loot, but it's still hard capped regardless. It's not like if your roguery skills all the way up that you're gonna go over the cap of 10,000 gold. That's the cap. That's it. You're not gonna go over that. So roguery is just good. Let's say if you fight a smaller battle, like if you fight a 10v10, you're not gonna get 10,000 gold, right? You're gonna get, let's say if it's first looters, you're gonna get like what, 100 gold from those 10 looters, probably less, like 60 to 100 gold. If your roguery skills all the way up, you'll get probably like twice the amount of gold. But again, it's still hard capped to 10,000 regardless how big the battles get. With that being said, I think I don't know if you should base it off clan tier, but maybe the higher your clan tier is, the more you're able to loot, or the more loot you're able to get, which doesn't really make sense. But somehow they have to kind of just increase that amount and just increase it over time. So if I'm really late into the game and I fight a huge battle, I think I should be able to find more than 10,000 dinars after, having a battlefield full of, let's say, 15,000 people, 7,000 versus 8,000, right? I think there should be more than 10,000 dinars somewhere laying on the ground, or somewhere, in stashes nearby, something like that, right? But that's just currently how it works, and I think it definitely needs changes to it. But that being said, let's see what the devs have to say. Here's the code. So this is dev speaking. Here's the code part calculating expected loot value per killed troop. All right. What is this? Search all code, high trade, penalty equipments, real value code. Real value player will get while selling these items. Okay. I'm confused. Hold on. Public static float. So this is him naming the variable. Get expected loot item value, character object, character. Okay. So it's based on character level. Interesting. So that's how they base it. So if your character level is 6, and what is the 43? I'm an idiot. I can't read code. I'm sorry. I'm trying really hard, but it's been so long since I actually did like coding or anything close to coding, because I was in college and it's been a while. But it looks like based off this, it's based on your level, and then it's also based, I'm guessing, on the number of people that you killed, and then based on that, it's divided by 4, and then that will give you the value or the amount of gold you get per unit killed. Oh, no. This is the level of the troop, actually. Or no, it's not. Yes, it is. I think this is the level of the troop. Okay, so based on the level of the troop, how many of those troops you kill, and then divided by 4, maybe that's a constant, then that will give you how much you get per kill. All right, let's see if you can explain to us, because I'm an idiot. All right, so dev states, as you see, you can get a value of 440 dinars of loot from a killed level 26 tier 5 troop. If a tier 5 troop has 6 different items, each value is 10k, then 99% you get nothing from that killed troop. This is a big problem currently, and equipment prices for especially high troops need to be lowered about 4 to 5x so that everyone will make a bit more sense. So everything will make a bit more sense. If you want full realism, then lower them 20 to 30x, then it will create new problems, sadly. All right, so what he states here is, obviously, it doesn't make sense that from a tier 5 troop that literally has 10k value in his armor, you only get 440 dinars from him, which is literally about, what is it, 1%, less than 1%? It's close to there that you get from that killed troop. He states that equipment prices should be lowered 4 to 5 times. And if you want to make it really realistic, they should be 20 or 30 times less, but obviously he says that's going to create more problems, pretty much where it's going to be so cheap to get very good armor that everyone's going to have very good armor, so that's also a problem. Alrighty, he continues, also when you kill a lord, again, same formula works, and you can get a level 26 lord's 100k armor with only a 0.1% chance, a less than 0.1% chance, because he has more items than just one armor. Maybe you can make expected loot value from a lord is 30 to 50 times x compared to regular soldiers, then this probability can rise to 1 to 5%, which is more meaningful. As I know, there are works for changing item prices, but I do not know how the numbers will be. I reported these problems to team. Interesting. So, Jesus Christ, so the current chance of getting a part of this 100k, so if his total is 100k, like, with his helm, with his chest piece, all that combined equals 100k. To be able to get one of those armor pieces, you would need 0.44% chance that you can get one of those pieces. Jesus Christ. That's quite the percentage there. So yeah, he states that they need to definitely decrease the amount per equipment price, which was the same as we talked about in the other thread. Okay. Fingers crossed, new rules. Okay. Uh, so the dev continues. Now I got the document for new/old item prices, and what I see changes seem good. Price of expensive items for high tier troops are generally reduced by 4 to 5 times. Even some are 10 times, while lower tier ones are usually similar. Price changes table. Okay. So new tier, old tier. New tier difference, old tier difference reduction, new base value, old base value. What is all this? I don't know exactly what this means, but all right, let's see if you can explain it. So dev continues. Formula is still same, by the way, in which troop has which item. Data will not change. So you will get 440 value of expected loot from a killed tier 5 troop, same as old version. However, it will make more sense with new reduced values, and you will get to see loot dropped from high tier troops after battle. I will try to make this formula 20 times for noble, so a level 26 lord will give 20 times more expected loot, which is about 9k. So you will get a 5 to 10% chance of getting his 50k item. Even still, leaving 50k item at battlefield not realistic. It is better than 0.1%. Interesting. So I'm guessing that cap is going to go away soon, or did it go away? I'm very confused because the devs did mention that cap when it came to gold and loot, but they never mentioned actually taking it away. So I don't know if it's completely taken away yet or if it's being in the process, but he's stating that I'm guessing sometime in the future, not exactly, I don't know when exactly, but he's stating that he's trying to get this 0.1% to a good 5 to 10% chance, which is way better. Way better. And I think that will make a huge difference. And I think actually having this chance to get this 50k item will actually make players enjoy the gameplay a lot more. Because let's be honest, once you're in the mid game to late game, you don't expect any high value items to pop in the loot. Early game, it's amazing. You feel amazing. You hit a squad. You hit a squad of like 30 guys in a party, or you hit a hideout, and then you pop out with like an armor that's worth 2.4k, and you're like, oh my god, I'm rich, because it's early game. But mid to late game, it doesn't feel that way. And I think if you did have this 5 to 10% chance of getting these high tier armors, I think it's actually going to feel that way again, but in mid to late game, which will carry over the excitement from the early game. So, very good in my opinion. Will this take effect on 1.5.8? Developer states no. 1.5.8 is already tested. Not sure for 1.5.9 because I only see table and do not know where it will be applied. Interesting. So, it's probably going to take some time for this. Probably a month or two, which is unfortunate, but it seems promising. It seems good, and I do like it. All right, let's see what else it does have to say. And by the way, it looks like we are having a 1.5.9. This is actually the longest we've had before turning into a new number, right? We usually had like 1.4. We had 1.4.1, 0.2, 0.3, and then 1.5. And then I expected 1.5.1, 0.2, 0.3, and then 0.6. We still didn't have 0.6. It's obviously going to come after the 1.5.9, but that's interesting. Maybe they're doing it differently. Maybe it's because they're doing it in like chapters in a way. I have no clue. But interesting. So we are having a 1.5.9 next. Cool. What else we got? I came here with the same question. Let's hope so. Wait. Okay. So the player asks, looks good. Does this also affect shop prices? I would think so, right? If the value of the equipment is dropped, it's going to reflect in the shop, right? Dev replies, yes, it will affect shop prices too and probably solve smithing exploit also. At least this exploit will be less because the price of crafted, expensive weapons will be reduced. Interesting. But I still think we need some more changes to smithing, regardless. But I think they are working on it. I don't know if they're working on it. Maybe they put it on a pause. No clue. We haven't had much news about it lately. But that's good. We'll have at least a little bit of a change to it. What in the world is this? Similar threads are not working as they should. If anyone wants to take a look at similar threads, just to name a few. Jesus Christ. I'm trying to read the titles here. We got abstract trade goods for their gear. Main income should be taxes, not battle loot. This is the one we went over. This is literally the thread we just went over. Okay, just a lot of different threads about this topic. There it is. By the way, I'm guessing he means that a lot of these didn't get a reply from the devs. Just letting you guys know. I'm not trying to be like that guy, but I'm going to be that guy for a second. I'm going to just hit y'all with the quick facts. Don't get hurt. Don't get upset. It's not the dev's job to be the QA person on the forums. I'm just saying. I know there are people that do that, but as the devs have stated before, and they stated a couple times, if they don't really have an answer to it, they're not going to speculate and just, just give you these false answers so then you could just be like, oh, they lied to us or whatever. If they have an answer for you, if they have something constructive to put into the conversation, they will. But if they don't, then they don't. It is what it is. And I do prefer this because there's a lot of games that like to answer all the questions that they're being asked, and then none of that stuff shows up in the game. I think you know of a couple. One just came out very recently. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. It's in the future. That's all I'm going to say. All right. Let's keep it going. I think there's one more reply. I think this is the last reply. All right, so we have a player and then we have a developer. So the player, it's great that there were adjustments, but in the end, as you pointed, the root of the problem, the formula which makes prices rise much too fast, is still here. It's disappointing that after such a long time, instead of fixing a formula that doesn't work, the solution is just to change item tiers so the price isn't bogus. It's hiding the problem instead of fixing it. Not blaming you, of course. It's disappointing how Tailworld seems to be wasting time circling around every issue and tweak it rather than actually correct things. What's the problem with price adjustments? Is he talking about like when you sell it, it obviously, or like if you're buying an item and it's starting to run low, it's going to increase the price, and when you're selling an item, it's going to decrease the price because they need less of it. That makes sense. What's wrong with it? Am I missing something? I thought that was a good gameplay feature. Maybe I'm missing something. And I think this is also a good gameplay feature of decreasing the price of certain items. Maybe I'm missing something. The dev doesn't understand it either. All right, let's see what the devs have to say. I think it's a good gameplay feature, personally. But let's see what the devs have to say. I couldn't understand real problem you mentioned. The change prices so item prices will not rise too much. Isn't it the same thing you offer? Yes, document shows that they did this by changing calculated tier values of items, but still all troops will have the same items. Nothing will change there. So a document, what you see as tier values, old and new, are not important at game. Actually, oh, he's talking about, I think it's on the first page, maybe. Is it? So he's talking about this, which I really didn't understand. But all this is showing is the prices for the different types of tiers of gear obviously dropped, which I think is good. As you can see, the base value was about 1.3 million for these tests, I'm guessing, and the old values were 5.5 million. So they did go down like 4 or 5 fold, which I think is good. I think it will be a positive impact on the game. But all right. Dev continues, it's just a value which pricing calculations use. Still, all troops will have the same items, only prices will reduce. Unfortunately, I did not see any king item modifiers so unique. King items will be cheaper. Also, maybe something can be done additionally here later. I have less info at these parts. I think you also wanted to see tier values at document match with troop tiers using these items. So if the item's X tier value is 3, then it will be used by a tier 3 troop. Yes, this type of fix can make more sense if you mentioned it. However, as you said, they will not change any equipment sets troops already have. So change at tier values at document does not make any difference. Okay, he's just talking about a what if here. But okay, I don't really understand what. So he's pretty much saying that he thinks that the player is talking about if a tier value of gear is 3, then it will be used by a tier 3 troop, but it's not that way currently in the game. Which I don't think it should be that way. I don't think it, you know, I think even a tier 5 troop doesn't have all tier 5 armor and gear and stuff like that. But I might be mistaken. But I guess the dev, he knows better. Alright, so the dev continues. In this problem, there's no perfect solution in my opinion, because if we make price of items which a tier 5 troop has as low as 1 to 2k, then player might be able to buy these equipment after doing first quest. True. This will not create a good gameplay also. I accept previous pricing formulas have problems. One tier 5 troop totals equipment price equals 100k. Interesting. But at least now it will be 10, 20, 30k, which will make more sense. Unfortunately, we cannot make it totally matching with upgrade costs because of different gameplay problems. Yes. So what he means by this is if the equipment costs 100k, you don't want to pay, let's say the troop has current gear, he has 10k, right, when you got him. And then his next upgrade, all his gear is going to be worth 100k. It would be silly for the game to ask you to pay 100k or 90k to make up the difference to get to that 100k of his gear. That would be crazy amounts. You would have to change the aspect of how the whole game works to balance that out, how taxes work, how battle loot works. You would have to change how the AI works completely, because guess what? They're barely keeping up with the current economy. That's why they have all these little cheats and little things that they can do, like share money, not require some of these upgrade costs and all that other stuff, right? So you'd have to do so much more things if they were to make it like realistic, which I understand it doesn't make sense, but for gameplay it does. Dev continues, let me underline again, these are just my predictions, by the way. I did not work at item pricing. I am transferring you info I get. There it is. So he's not in charge of it, but he said it does look good. Alrighty, I think that will do it for me. I do agree with this overall. I think this is a good change, and I'm very excited to see, bigger items drop kind of, later on at like a bigger percentage, because right now that whole 0.1% or something, or 0.44%, I think is way too low, and it never happens. So yeah, we'll see how these changes go. Obviously, it's going to be a long time until we see these changes. He says probably after 1.5.9. So yeah, going to be a while, probably a month or two. But I will cover it when it gets there. We'll talk about it more when we get more information. Like always, ask me any questions, any concerns, and stay safe.